All right, welcome back into Year of the Book. Last month in June, we pulled these prompts for this month: photograph, modeling paste, and lace. So those are our prompts for today. And the next page is this layout with this pocket, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with, but we'll figure that out. Also, I have been really interested in doing something more black and white. So I've already gone through my bits basket and was amazed at how much mostly black and white there is. There's a whole bunch of different things in here, including some fabric items. These are some vintage items, some packaging. So I am excited about getting into collaging. As you know, these are larger layouts, so the collaging process has been, I've noticed, longer. I'm interested in really covering up this in the center, and that's why I decided to go ahead and do some fabric so that I could easily cover up this washi tape that I used when I was binding this. Not so worried about the blue. I feel like that is stuff that I can layers will eventually cover up, so I'm not really necessarily wanting to be pretty heavy with my collage. So we'll see how that goes. All right, welcome in. This is one of my favorite brushes. It's the Princeton Select Flat Brush, and I love how it feels in my hand, but what I love the most about it is how durable it is. Here are my two old brushes. I've used these for the last 3 years, and I'm really not kind to my brushes. The part of the brush which meets the ferrule, or the metal part, is just caked with mediums. Even though I do try and get them in water right away, over time it does do damage. But I thought it was a good opportunity to show you these brushes because they are my favorite, especially for collaging. So I'm starting my collage off using some of this fabric because I really wanted to cover up that washi tape like I said before. So I thought that's where I would get started first. So I pulled out some of these fabrics. They have some fabric transfers on them, and I'm going to squish them into the binding edge using my TCW green butter spreader, and because that way it gets right down into there, and so the pages that insert will move back and forth more easily. Collaging on these larger pages takes a lot of time, and I've really sped this up for you. But I'm coming in with these variety of papers, and some of them are very thick, so I'm applying some of the gel medium to the back side. Sometimes just the backside, sometimes the backside and the page, depending on how thick they are, so that I can get those to adhere better to the pages in this journal. Although these larger pages take a long time to collage, and it's more challenging to do the editing when I'm doing that for the video, I have to say that I have so much enjoyment in that collaging process. I feel like I'm letting go of so much, and that process enables me to be more open to ideas coming in. I just get into this space. So when I'm actually doing the collage, the time goes by so quickly. I'm always astonished at that process. So now that I have the collage done, I'm going to come in and use some gesso and my brayer to kind of bring those layers together, so it feels like it's more of one layer. The other beautiful thing that happens with gesso when you add color to it, depending on what kind of color you're using, it will react with the gesso differently. And so that is always really fun. Using a brayer also adds some texture with that gesso. So it really definitely is a win-win in a lot of ways. A bit ago, I purchased for myself some of Nicole Watson Art new Stencil Girl stencils, and I got the triangle leaves and the triangle leaves reflection, and for this layout I am going to use the triangle leaves. I'll have, of course, as always, all the links to all the products that I've used listed down below in the description. And I will be pushing through the stencil some PowertexUSA Easy Structure. This is awesome stuff. You can use it exactly like you would modeling paste. However, it is lighter as it goes through, yet you can build it up easier than you can modeling paste. And aside from that, it is super smooth. If you don't like how smooth it is, you can always mix it with sand and get more texture into it, but it is absolutely divine to use through stencils, as you'll see, as you're seeing here. Well, in my excitement of getting color down on this, I got carried away and did not turn on my camera as I initially sprayed it down. So I initially came in with the Distress Oxide Spray and Black Soot and added a spritz from my water bottle to really get that to move around. Now that I've got that initial layer, the oxide spray and black soot down, which I'm considering my grays, I'm going to come in with a variety of different mediums to start bringing in a brighter, darker black. And then I'm going to do the same thing, trying to bring in some of the whites. So initially here, I've got that gray layer down, and now I'm going to come in with some Stabilo All in black to give definition to that stencil that I used and the easy structure that I had put through that stencil. And now for the next stark black transition, I'm using my Marabou Art Spray in black and coming in and creating additional areas within that gray of the Distress Oxide Spray and Black Soot to give myself some contrast on these pages. So I'm just dipping my round brush into the bottle and using it on the edge and spreading that around. Sometimes I'm dipping that brush into water to get that to move more, and that is how I'm applying that Marabou Art Spray in the black as opposed to spraying it.
now I'm going to pump up the volume on some of the white areas or places that I need to establish some highlights in. And to do that, I'm going to use a Posca white paint pen. You're going to see that I'm going to lay that color down, and in some areas I want to taper it off, so I'm going to use my finger to kind of blend that out. The other nice thing is you can use your finger almost as a dry brush to catch any texture as well. This is a very good example when I talk about following the texture, because I'm feeling with one hand, looking for the texture, applying that white Posca onto the highest point of that texture, and then coming in with my finger and spreading it out and adding that highlight. It's one of my favorite methods to exploit and bring out texture. At this point, I had gotten so lost in that texture, I had really forgotten what I had left to tackle for my prompts. So I had to pull out those prompt sticks and remind myself what was still needed. So I went searching for a photograph and I selected one that made me feel a lot like what we were looking at on the page. And so then I take that and I'm going to get the shine off of that glossy photo by adding a little bit of matte medium to the surface of it. The title at the bottom of this photo says Indian House, New Mexico. And it's this desolate flat land with it almost looks like a cabin or thatch type of structure. And it's really burnt out on the right side. And I just loved that stark contrast and the desolateness of the environment in the image. So that's what pulled me to that photograph. So I'm going to get that adhered using some Fabri-Tac. And then I'm going to add my lace as that photo dries to the insert. Now this lace is something that I had previously, I think I had soaked it in some white glue and got it hard and didn't end up using it. And so I pulled it out for this and I wanted to apply it similarly, as I had put those pieces of fabric that are behind it. I wanted to add this, but instead of in the center, I wanted it kind of coming up from the bottom. And so I do adhere this with the Fabri-Tac. When I first put it down, I wasn't thrilled with it, but coming back and looking at this, it almost mimicked what I'm going to add as my final piece of the focal point. Now this image of the crow is something I did on a Technique Tuesday and it's a fabric image transfer, and I'll link it up above. That is actually transferred onto fabric. And I'm going to get that adhered with the Fabri-Tac on the back side of this insert. And once that's adhered, I am going to come in with a black feather and I'm going to get that attached to the front side of the insert, and I'm going to use a tiny attacher to attach that, and then I'm going to just use some Fabri-Tac to insert the other one, the shorter one, onto the back side. Now I knew exactly the words I wanted to use. It was a quote that I had and I had screenshot it on my phone. So I went to my computer, I typed it out and printed it out just on some heavier weight paper. And then I'm going to cut that out and add that to this layout as well. And I decided to back it with the same fabric that I had done the image transfer onto, so it would kind of match a little bit, because it wasn't stark white, it was kind of an off-white color. But I really needed the white, the contrasting white against that to really kind of pop. So I did come in with archival ink and in the black soot. Well, it is time to choose our August inspiration sticks. So the prompts that we use for August. And we have doodling. We have paint drips. And we have the color white. So those are our prompts for August. Until next time.